welcome to another episode of The Flank. I'm joined by the human turret, one of the best ARs to ever do it. Give it up for the world champ himself, Sam LaRue, Octane. We got some of the best analysis in the game, the world champ himself, Christopher Duarte, Parasite. We got the multi-world champion, the multi-champion, a legend and icon to the Call of Duty space. Give it up for Patrick Price, a.k.a. Aches. And then, of course, we got the one and only, the executive producer of The Flank, been making phenomenal content out in Madrid. Give it up for Benjay Nassim. What's going on, boys? Long day of COD today. We've been up since, 5 a.m.? It's been a long one. How we doing?
Great. We're great, man.
Thank you,
We're
Sam.
all great.
Thank you,
Everyone's
Sam.
great. Ben's tired. I'm tired. Pat's probably doing great. And Chris is great.
Bro,
And tired.
Bro, I'm not
And
gonna lie.
tired.
These 5 a.m. start times have got me fucked up, man. I ain't gonna lie, man. These time zones, but we are getting the flanks out earlier, which is nice. But yeah, we had 5 matches today. A lot of great matches. Ben, how you doing today? How's it going over there in Madrid? What are the vibes like in the venue over there?
Vibes were good today, even though GentleMates and Optic got eliminated. Those fans still showed up. A lot of people, hanging around. Took a lot of photos, signed a bunch of autographs, and in general, like people having a good time. A lot of alcoholic beverages being consumed, and I think attendance was great today. And the matches obviously followed up well. And I just want to self-congratulate myself for accurately predicting the top 4.
Here he goes.
There you go,
There
man.
he
There you go,
goes,
Ben. Nah,
man. Here
if
he
Tom's going to do
goes.
it, Ben gets to
Yeah,
do
yeah,
it.
nah, Ben.
That's
Go
right,
ahead,
Ben.
Ben. Go ahead, Ben.
Yeah.
Do your thing.
Wait. When did you predict the top 4?
Last night.
Yesterday.
The end of the
Last night.
show.
Wait,
Accurately.
did we? Wait, so did you? Did I have Ravens too? I might have been in the same boat with you.
Nah,
I-
Ben is
I-
the only one that had Miami.
Yeah.
Oh, Miami. Yeah, that's what it was. That was a surpriser. Yeah, no, hell yeah, Ben.
Yeah,
You're a fucking beast.
Ben knew it. Look at him. Ben, you're an animal.
Yeah, Ben, look at him.
Look at me,
cheesy.
look at me
Yeah,
back
Ben.
with the Spain.
what-
I'm wearing
what-
a Spain jersey right now. You see this, Tom? Like,
Yes, sir, man. Looking good. Those jerseys are fire. What's going on with you, Pat? How you been? We missed you the last couple of days, man. A lot of people were asking about you, Pat. They were asking about the Slay, man. They want to hear your opinions. How you doing, Pat? You doing good?
Yeah, I'm good. These time zones are just different now, bro. I'm able to do flanks before 9 o'clock now, but now we're moved them up till 1 p.m., so it's a little hard.
It's crazy.
You can't get off work for a midday flank, man?
Yeah, so
Lunch break flank?
I'm good. Ben's happy about predicting his top 4 calling yesterday, but I'm just happy because I predicted this FaZe Thieves finals back till before Christmas, where they were getting shit on. I'm like, it won't surprise me to see these two in a winter final, so I'm feeling good as well.
That's good, Pat. I'm good. That's glad that you're feeling well. That's always good. What about you, Duarte? What you drinking over there? Coke or something? What you got over there?
Well, according to
That's a
Ian and
diet
Abel,
Haggy.
it's a diet
It's a
Haggy.
diet
But
right there. Just hello.
no,
Chris?
no,
What's going on?
I'm doing good, bro. Today was a fucking insane day of COD, bro. We had so many awesome game vibes. We had some great interviews after a ton of stinker interviews that we've had. No offense to that guy Yuli, but he's doing his best. But
You talking about
honestly,
the interviewer? Talking about the guy who's interviewing on stage?
yeah. Because the interviews have been fucking poo
We got to bring
outside
him
of the
over,
last
man.
one.
Nah, we got to bring him on full time.
Yeah, no, that guy is like hilarious, bro. I mean, he just has like a very, very
Yeah,
broken
he's trying
English.
he's trying his best, bro. But the pros are literally like they don't even know what he's saying at the time. It's just actually comedy, but
That is funny, man.
Great day of COD, bro. Great day of COD.
And Sam, I'm guessing you do. Wait, Sam, hold on. I gotta call you out for this. You said that
What's
if
up?
Beans wins that fight against TJ, that you will
He
admit.
missed. We can't miss nowadays.
Here we go.
No,
Here we
Imez
go.
might be. Listen, man, I'll concede it that Imez is a very good weapon, Tom.
Thank you, Sam. Thank you. I think the
But it's
Jackals.
not better than the sub.
Hey, go fuck yourself. Let's move on to the matches, man. We had 5 great matches today. Like Chris said, bro, a lot of these matches have been going to a game 5. I would actually argue that we've had the most game 5s this year than any other year. I don't know if that's true or not. It just feels that way, at least for me.
Well, prior to the major, it was half of the series in the league were going to game 5. No.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm curious to see what that looks like after this one because the ratio is still up there. It's gonna be up there.
But let's hop into the first series of the day. We have the Minnesota ROKKR kicking things off against Cloud9. This was a loser's bracket match, so loser did get eliminated, which was Cloud9 here in this one. ROKKR with the 3-1 victory. They were able to win the first map hard point by 7 points, around 11 S&D. They lose the control in the overtime, and then Minnesota ROKKR was able to take the protocol. So a very close series here. For the first series of the day. We'll scroll down. We'll take a look here at the stat sheet. You had a 1.19 from Estriel with 102 kills in a lobby. You had a 1.18 from Gio as well. So both of those players popping off. You had a 0.96 from Nero, a 0.91 from Paul. And then on the other side, you had 2.8s, 1.81 from Attach, 1.85 from Mac, so you don't want to see that from Attach and Mac. And then one positive is Dante Sid, positive again with a 1.02, and Kremp with a 1.12, but it just wasn't enough for these guys. We'll scroll down. We'll take a look at the match MVP. It was Gio. He was shooting in this series at a 1.10 in hardpoint, a 1.60 in S&D, and a 1.27 in control. Gio put up a masterclass series here against Cloud9. Sam, we'll start with you on this one. Minnesota, they come out, they take care of business against Cloud9. What are your immediate thoughts?
More ice from ROKKR. I think both of those first two maps were definitely close. So it was a good 2-0 lead here, but dude, I don't know what C9 are gonna do, man.
Yeah,
Dante had
they're a
a
weird
great
team.
event, honestly, until I think the map 4 he had a pretty rough one. But I just don't know what C9 does going forward, man. Dante had a great event. Still a lot to be desired from Dylan, or Attached for pretty much the whole stage and event. Their post major 1 is going to be a little bit interesting. We'll get to ROKKR again a little bit down the line, so we'll talk about more there. But yeah, man, going forward for C9, I'm curious to see what they look like after they get home.
They have to make a change.
You think so,
I'm
Pat?
kinda
You think
the-
it's time?
I'm
I mean,
kinda
Pat,
there, too.
you probably saying this 2 weeks ago, but what do you
I
think,
want
Pat?
to.
I think Dante saved his job this weekend, man.
Bro,
He
it's
had
funny.
he had a really good event.
He replied to somebody on Twitter, and it popped up on my timeline. Somebody was like, Sib, you're the worst player in the entire CDL. Like, it was just some random guy, like, hating on him. I thought it was hilarious because, yeah, he didn't play that bad this weekend. But, yeah, I mean, this team just has to make a change. And I know, I mean, just looking at it from, like, Cloud9's perspective, like, they got to be kind of upset, right? Like, they're getting this CDL, obviously trying to go for a world champion lineup when they obviously had the subliners. But, yeah, I mean, this team is not meeting expectations at all. So yeah, I think this team has to make a change, and I think they should honestly be the first team calling Pred, just because Pred is Pred. But I don't even know if it stops the one person change.
Yeah, I don't know if Pred would come to this roster. You think Pred would join this roster? Can you see?
I mean,
got the
I'm not
Seattle
saying
roots
he
here,
will.
so, like, there's
I'm saying he like they should be calling. You know what I mean? Whether he says yes or no, like they need to be on the phone.
Well, you think there should be a
but-
2-person change here, Pat?
I don't. Well, I think it should absolutely be one. I just don't know if one be enough. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't turn down a 2-person.
The only thing with
change.
Pred, Pat, is who are you replacing? I mean, Mac obviously had a tough series here, but I would say Mac and Kremp have arguably been like the better two of the roster.
It's
I
one
think
of those
it's a
things.
role
yeah.
change thing, right?
Yeah, it's also one of those things where it's like, dude, at this point, you know, this roster, this composition isn't working. You don't necessarily need to replace based on, like, you know, your weak spots. I think you just need to look at this team as a whole. And I think going to what Sam said, like, yeah, role change should probably be on the table as well.
Go ahead, Chris. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say the thing is like when you look at this LAN like that they played their stats and all their matches, they all outside of Sib had like super inconsistent parts in their series. I think Kremp had like even though he was like a 0.8 like in like both series, I think like he's just really good at search. Like he's literally their best search player. It's not even fucking close. So when you're looking at like let's say replacing him, I just don't really see why they would if he's like still, you know, he's like still fine in respawn and easily their best search player. Mac was their most explosive player in terms of like the online stage, but on LAN, he played okay. Dante was terrible online, but on LAN, he played great. And then when it comes to Attach, he's probably been the most inconsistent out of the bunch in terms of like his online and LAN play. So realistically, it's Attach would probably be the odd man out here, but I just don't really see how or where like they would get a replacement unless they role swap and maybe try to get Pred, or because I think Mac did run a flex, right? He ran a flex on the old Seattle. No,
Yeah, I don't know if you'd want Mac on a flex.
I don't know if you'd want him though,
But
right?
Yeah,
you're putting Mac in the same position he was on Seattle. I just feel like if that's what you're bringing on AG to do, it's just
Well,
going
that's
to be
what I'm
very
saying.
odd.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah.
not saying that they should, but then if you look at it from like if they're going to replace Attach, hypothetically, if he's the one to go, you look at an AR and you're probably going to be picking up somebody that's like a either a rookie from Challengers or like somebody that's a vet in Challengers. Like I don't know if you're going to get like anyone else. So it's like a Illy, like a Lunars sort of angle. I don't really know where they go with this, but I don't know. This team, I feel like this whole year is going to struggle to find their identity. I don't think that even if they make a one-person swap, it's just going to like be instantly changing this team.
I don't even think they're gonna change. To be honest with you, I
Also was on that side.
I mean,
too.
we
I
all
don't know.
think they should change, but I mean, just looking at the roster, I don't see them actually making a change. Like, I think they're gonna try and stick it out and try and make it work. But I mean, it was a really close series. I will say that. They
It
lost.
was,
They lost the first hard point by 7 points. They lost the S&D from around 11. And there's been a lot of, but this was basically a full sale in the map number 2. They were up 5-1 again in the
They choked the fuck out of this series,
Bro,
bro.
why do teams keep going up 5-1 and not closing it out? What do you guys think it is? Because it's happened way too much now to not be a coin. I mean, what's going on here?
It's a vault thing, I think, at this point.
You
It is
think,
a lot of
you think it's
vault. I
just
also think it's just
momentum,
the
cheese?
mid-rounds.
Like you're just hitting A every round? You think it's just momentum, just winning those fights in A? I mean, it could be.
Well, C9, bro, C9 got 4v4 like ninja diffused on in that map.
Dude, it's oh man.
I mean, there's a lot of stuff going wrong.
Oh,
there.
Sam, man, we got to talk about it, man. What is it with players not planning for in good spots? Like
I'm gonna keep bringing it up, dude. I'm gonna keep bringing it up every time I watch a team on A or on Vault or S&D, excuse me, go A and plant the bomb away from pool with full pool control. I was losing my mind because as Mac was planting the bomb in that round that we're talking about, they got 4v4 diffused on because they couldn't check the bomb. They planted it in the corner from pool with full pool control, so the guy had to overextend all the way out, and by the time that happened, they diffused it. But it just keeps happening, and I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest with you. It's not even on just that map. I feel like in general in Surge, people's plant spots have been terrible. Like their post-plant situations are just horrible. I feel like so many times this weekend we see players plant the bomb and run around and they can't see the bomb and then the bomb just gets diffused and it's just chalked. Like I feel like people aren't really thinking about that. Which Nate Shot was kind of talking about that today in the watch party. He said that everybody plays so straight up in S&D now. Like nobody tries to make plays, but I definitely think there's some players who like to hit some routes and make some plays. One of them being TJ, which we'll get to when we get to this series. But shout out TJ. We've been super glazing TJ. On the other side, we had Minnesota ROKKR. I thought Gio played great. I think he's been really he's been having a really strong event. Gio's been playing insane for these guys. And then you have Estrio, who again putting that aggression on him, just getting over 100 kills in the series. I feel like they really stepped up. I think Nero was kind of that guy for me online for these guys. But so far, I mean, obviously before they got eliminated, I feel like these guys really showed out, especially Gio. I feel like he was like the superstar for me this weekend here. But what do you guys think? What do you guys think about the ROKKR? We can obviously talk about the ROKKR in the next series if you guys want.
Yeah, that's kind of why I skipped over them because they played
we
again.
can skip over because they play again. We see them again. But
Yeah.
Anybody else got any thoughts here on the series? Anything on the vetoes or anything that you saw or anything you want to add?
Don't choke 5-1.
Yeah, can't choke a 5-1 in S&D. You can't. And to be honest, the hard point was almost a choke as well. If you think about it, I mean, this could have been a 3-0 for C9 if they didn't throw these maps away. But any other final thoughts? Benja, you got any thoughts?
Cloud9 matches when they get back. And by the way, I confirmed there is the Major 2 minor tournament is after the second week of qualifiers. So just as an FYI, before those qualifiers, they're going to play Toronto, Vancouver, Vegas, and Boston. They play the minor, and then they come back and they play LAG, Carolina, and FaZe. So like New York's upcoming split, I would say is not particularly easy with the Toronto FaZe inclusion, as well as Carolina, Vancouver, and Boston IG. Like all teams that you're going to make a change or a decent. And like I don't know, I think New York will stick, but I don't know if it's going to be the right call here, Tom.
Yeah, I definitely think when you go back, you got to go back to the drawing board and see if there's anything you can do. I feel like anytime you go to a major and you lose, you always want to go back and see if there's any way that you can improve the roster or improve the team. But it was, again, like I said, it was a close match. I personally don't see them changing, but I think most of you guys want to see a change here. No, what about you guys in the chat and in the comments on YouTube? You let us know if you think they should make a change. But any other final thoughts here on this one before we move on?
Nope.
All right, let's move on to the next series of the day. We got the Los Angeles Thieves going up against the Miami Heretics. This was a winner's bracket match, so loser here did get bounced into the loser's bracket. This one ended up being a 3-0 victory for the LA Thieves. We had a close hard point in a map 1 Skyline. It was a 14-point game. That one got really rowdy to kick things off, and then we had a 6-4 to S&D and a 3-2 in a control. So a 3-0 for LA Thieves, but very close maps here with Miami. We'll scroll down here and we'll see what's going on. Oh, Jesus. We got another red carpet, ladies and gentlemen, on the weekend from the Miami Heretics. We had a .90 from Lucky, a .73 from Metals, a .99 from Real, and a .97 from Rencor. Nobody on the Miami side was able to get positive in this one. And then on the other side, we had a 1.02 from Scrap, a 1.14 from Hydra, a 1.17 from Ghosty, and a 1.17 from Dylan Envoy, match MVP. And this one's going to go to Dan Ghosty. He had a .93 in Hardpoint. He had a 4.0 in S&D and a .96 in Control. So an interesting stat line from the MVP. We also did have a red card be thrown on the play. LA Thieves breaking another GA. What are your immediate thoughts on that, guys? They're breaking GAs. I mean, Paco was we don't even need to watch the clip. I mean, it was just a straight up hard red card. I mean, he was just blatantly stair glitching on a P1 on Skyline. I mean, what are your initial thoughts, guys?
The clip is so funny. Sam's reaction when it happened was actually just calling. He's like, "Whoa!"
Dude, I was like half paying attention, and then I saw him drop shot, and I was like, okay, like, you know, he'll get up, and then he kept laying down for like 2 more seconds. I'm like, all right, like, Paco, get up, and he kept going. I was like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
He should be down, reposition himself even better into it. Like, not kidding.
Here are my immediate reactions.
Dirty team.
Miami pooped their pants in this series. Like that red card S&D and the way that they played that was actually just some of the like.
I think the nerves got to
search
him.
I've ever seen. Yeah, I think so. That's where I was going to kind of go with it. I think Miami didn't meet the moment in this one. We'll talk about the series in which they did and then almost did and then they finally did. But I think Thieves, just with their experience and having been here before, the Miami guys kind of wilted early on in main stage here.
Yeah, I was gonna say I think the series was competitive. Like they could have. Yeah, it was still a good series regardless of what the stats might show. On the Thieves side, I really liked how pretty much every single player on the team had like a takeover. Like Envoy first map, Dan second map, and then Scrap and Hydra both fried on the third map. So like so far on land, we've seen a pretty balanced effort from the entire roster, and they look fucking good. Dan's having a really good event.
Yeah.
The S&D was fucking unreal. Envoy's playing good. Like they're all playing pretty good.
That's how this team was built. Like
Yeah.
this team was built to have potential where any player could take over on any map anytime.
Yeah.
I still think that when they do play FaZe, like we're gonna need Hydra. Like that guy is going to have to step up because he's been playing all right, but he's just we're still waiting for.
He played good today.
He's played good, but I'm saying for his standards, I want to see Hydra like have like
the
some
biggest thing with
takeover.
Paco right now, Chris, is his search. He's not that good in S&D right now. I feel like that's where he's kind of like hindering the most is in search. The respawns, he's still making plays. You know, he'll go negative every once in a while on the respawns, but the S&D, he just seems like I don't know what it is in S&D. I'm not too sure.
Well, he was really like ratty in like search and destroy and MW3, and in this game, like it's just so straight up a lot of the time. Like, yeah, you can make a play, you make plays here and there on some of the bigger maps, but for the most part, it's just really straight up team play. So he's probably just not able to find his groove there.
Yeah,
that's kind of what he said too. I think he had an interview with was it Breaking Point or somebody. He had an interview with somebody, and he said that the way that they played on New York was super specific in S&D, and it's just like a learning thing with this team so far. I think he said that yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was in my interview with him. But,
yeah, was that your interview?
Yeah,
nice job,
or Trey.
W interview.
Great interview, Benji. Great interview.
But I just think I think Thieves played the hardpoint fine. It was fucking Skyline, like shit happens. The control is pretty straight up too. I'm still worried about the Thieves S&D, man. The way that they played that search and the space Miami was giving them, if they played FaZe on that map, with how aggressive FaZe did, middle of map, and how they push out B and Tyler B's getting the quick pinches. Like, I think Thieves are going to need a hard game plan for FaZe and the S&Ds tomorrow, or it's going to be tough seeing them take like 2 or 3 respawns.
Well, they're probably gonna play this map tomorrow. The red card search. FaZe loves playing that too. So we'll see where they go.
They're not playing FaZe on protocol, so you can just remove that one.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going to be this and probably
Hacienda.
No, FaZe will veto Hacienda.
Actually, you're right.
I think it'll be red card, Skyline, or
Bolt.
Well, S&Ds.
Sam, you were talking to Nate Shot a little bit about the searches because I know you guys have been worried about the searches. I mean, what from your perspective, Sam, what do you think has been their biggest problem in search? Because I mean, today they won a search, but Dan Ghosty was literally 16 and 4.
Took a master class out of Dan.
Everybody's negative, and Dan was 16 and 4, right? So it's like you can't expect this every single time. And I mean, what do you think is the biggest thing? Do you think everybody's just kind of like playing individually, or they're not really on the same page right now in S&D? I mean, what do you think it is from the outside looking in?
I think I've mentioned it every episode up to this point, but I think it's just the way that Hydra and Envoy play together. I think Scrap has been actually very, very good at search, even though we've been kind of not great in the mode. But it's just the way that they work together. I think that once Hydra gets his footing in the mode and they understand how to work the map for first bloods and kind of play off each other a little bit better, I think it is a little individual at the moment. But once that starts to click, I think you'll see an uptick in the game mode. But for right now, I mean, they don't work well together at the moment.
Yeah.
That's not to say they couldn't get better, but right now it's pretty blatant.
Yeah, for sure. What about you, Pat? You got any thoughts on the series?
I mean, I don't know, bro. I just feel like in the day it was just like a talent diff. Like I don't even think these played particularly well at all. Like they just just a talent.
This is I'm more impressed from Miami from this series than I am with LA too, personally.
I mean, they are all negative in all the maps. They're super close.
Yeah.
You know, so I think it does go along. It shows you like how good Miami are just from a team perspective, right? And again, they are in the top 4. But go ahead, Ben.
Yeah, there's a caveat to that. But go ahead, Chris.
Their X factors this tournament have been Lucky and Metals. Like Real and ROKKR have been like great even in the online stages. Lucky's been like playing pretty well for this team in like all game modes. Like he's stepped up a lot. Metals is like the one where like he'll have those like stinker series here and there.
Bro, you just don't know what you're
gonna
get from Metals, Chris. That's the thing. Like
exactly.
Sometimes he goes crazy, and sometimes he can't get
On my
killed.
fantasy team.
I used to be on the fence of like, like let's say hypothetically if they were to make a roster change in the future, like and like these guys were declining because at the online stage, even though they couldn't close series, I was like maybe they consider it. I thought it would be Lucky to go, but like right now with the way Metals is like inconsistent up and down, like it might have been him. But either way, I like the way this team's been playing at this tournament. You know, they got the hometown cheese, but at the end of the day, you know, they're coming to play, and obviously they get a top 4. So far.
You also can't take away their passion, man. I mean, even just hearing ROKKR's interview, they actually
I fucking love that interview.
Yeah,
dude.
it was actually a pretty emotional interview. I mean, I think he said something about like this is what I dreamed about like as a kid, right? And like just to hear the crowd like chanting his name and shit, it was really cool to see, man. I love seeing like people get their name, build their name, get their name out there and just perform, bro. Like I know some of these guys have been dreaming for this moment for a long time. So to see some of these guys getting into Championship Sunday must feel really good. But you guys got any other final thoughts? I mean, we see Miami again here in another match, so we can continue if you guys want to move on. I don't know if you guys got any other thoughts here on this one, but it was close matches here. But LA Thieves with a comfortable 3-0.
I have a couple, but I'll reserve it for the prediction for tomorrow. I think. Yeah,
that's fine. Anybody else? All right, let's move on. Let's move on to the next series of the day. As predicted, yet again, by the one and only, the man himself, was Atlanta FaZe 3-0 here against Toronto Ultra. I mean, Atlanta FaZe has just been so strong. That first map, Vault Hardpoint, I don't know what the hell was happening in that map one. Nobody hit 250 points. It went to the time, a 236 to 237, a 1-point game in the first Hardpoint. I actually thought for a second that they tied the map one, and that we were going into a replay. But then we go to a Protocol S&D, comfortable for FaZe, 3-6. And then we also go to a Hacienda Control where Atlanta FaZe was able to win 3-1 there. So a comfortable series for them against Toronto. We'll scroll down. We'll take a look here at the stat sheet. We had a 0.93 from Beans, a 0.91 from Kleenex, a 1.18 from Insight, and a 0.76 from Joe. Everybody around the same area there in the damage department, around 8,000 damage. And then on the other side for Atlanta FaZe, everybody pulling weight. You got a 0.92 from Abizi, a 1.18 from Salium, a 1.03 from Drazen, a 1.14 from Simp. We'll scroll down and take a look at his MC Salium with another match MVP here. He had a 1.0 in Hardpoint, a 1.33 in Search, and a 1.44 in Control. I mean, listen, man. Ever since that Simp 1v4, these guys have been unbelievable. I don't know what it is about these guys right now, or what it really was, like what really was that difference maker for them. But clearly these guys are just feeling themselves right now. I mean, they are definitely playing with so much confidence. Their listenings sound really good. I feel like in the past their listenings have always been like a little chaotic, but the energy that they're bringing in the listenings this event is honestly, I'm loving it. Like I'm loving the energy. You usually don't hear like that kind of energy from Atlanta FaZe sometimes. But go ahead, Ben. What are you gonna say?
I was gonna say something, but I think, dude, FaZe is doing that thing again where they play every COD that they dominate in, or they play really well and get a lot of good placings, or like, well, they do that every time. They get really good at Control and Search. Like they're doing that thing, bro. Their Control records are usually really good, and their S&D records are really good, and they're like obviously their Hardpoint's fine. Like, and it's their Control has been really good, and that Search is like ever since that break and that one before, like they're frying in both those game modes, and that's why they're so fucking hard to beat right now. Like no one's beating them in those game modes.
Yeah, I agree. What about you, Sam? What did you think about the series? Atlanta FaZe, they come out, take care of business, 3-0 against Toronto. What are your thoughts?
I too predicted a 3-0.
Yes, you did, Sam. We're so smart and so wise.
No. Yeah, I these guys are probably the best team. They probably are. They're the best team right now. MC has been on another planet since the break. I think to answer your question for when we started the series, the way that these guys play together, specifically like pacing and MC pulling out like a sub every now and then, and just their teamwork's on another fucking level right now, man. They look great, and to Chris's point, the Control and Search is almost a lock in every series that they play. I was surprised to see Vault in here, which it almost to by the hair on their chins, they almost lost map 1. But to see them win a Vault, which was again surprising because I expected to never see that map for them, kind of like a sub base from last year. It was definitely a good sign for the whole series, but I just don't know what it is with Toronto. I don't think that they're frauds by any stretch, which we'll obviously talk about them again, but when I see them match up against FaZe, Optic, LAT, I just don't have the confidence in them, and that's why I had 3-0 for this.
It's because they don't rotate the hard points. That's my thing when I watch them play. Like, I think they face smash a lot, and they rely a lot on, some clutch factor ability from Jamie in certain map modes, Joe Deceives and Kleenex popping pieces, Ben making plays, but I don't think that they control the game as effectively as some of these top teams. And I think for FaZe, I don't really see how other teams right now like that control when MC pulls out that 4th sub. Who is going to play as fast as they do right now?
I think LAT is the only team right now that can match them in control. I think LAT is only an 8 control win streak at the moment.
Yeah, it's not even control, Sam. It's just literally like
in general respawn. I agree with you. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know
specifically in control. LAT is also there right now.
Yeah.
I'm so glad they ran 4 subs on that map. Because I was like, whenever I would watch that map, I just get so mad, like how so many people keep out like 2 ARs. I'm like, bro, you are just face smashing in the hallways, and you can avoid all the hallways and all those like AR gunfights by just taking like good routes. And they just fucking slammed them.
Mm-hmm. I think with the subs.
Go ahead, Tom.
I was gonna say with the subs, Celian pulling out the sub, bro. Like I hope he does it more. I hope he keeps doing it because the pace that he was setting with a sub. I mean, I haven't seen Celian with a sub since like I don't know, fucking IW maybe when he was running the ERAD. Like when was the last time you seen Celian with like an actual like
they
actually putting out sub?
They were Brandon champs because he got a streak on APOC in control. In Cold War.
Yeah, but he was picking up subs and like he obviously used a sub like in the past. Like
no,
but now he's pulling it up way. He's actually pulling it out. But Ben, he hates running a sub. He's actually running a sub now.
He doesn't hate running a sub. He's not. When has he ever said that he hates running a sub?
I'm pretty sure MC definitely considers running an
I don't know, man. Benjay's the MC specialist. I don't trust his word.
I think MC had a pretty revealing interview. It wasn't.
They're saying Cold War.
It wasn't. It wasn't in our interview, but someone else kind of asked him a question in a press conference about pace and all this. And I think MC in the team talks they had during the break, I think he's realized that in this game in particular, like if he can just kind of be a little bit more of a pace setter with Simp and Abizi, like no one right now is built to kind of fuck with them pace wise. Like
MC. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, and I think the net of this is going to be very interesting because if they go on ahead and win this event tomorrow, and I haven't played on this new patch. Is the sub still very good on the new patch?
Yeah. Nothing's changed.
I think there is going to be a full GA chat push to nerf the fuck out of the sub after this event.
Fuck no. Listen, bro. We need to get over this shit. In MW3, we did not like hard nerf the ACR when people were running 4 on a map. We chalked it up to a map design. All right, map design. There's nothing we can do about it. Just keep the fucking meta the way it is. And if people want to run multiple ARs because of map design, you keep it. They should do the same shit here. Why are we fucking trying to change it now? Chalk it up, map design, bro.
I just want to say, I am not arguing for Chris. I'm just saying that everybody else are going to be wussies.
Yeah, probably.
If the game is way more entertaining with subs for sure.
If they go out tomorrow and they cook Thieves twice, because I expect that's probably going to be run back in the grand finals, I think the amount of crybaby cheese that's going to happen in GA chat is going to be astronomical. Because I just think all these teams are. What team right now in the league is pulling out 4 subs and matching them?
If FaZe goes and belts the asses,
answer the question though. What team's doing it?
I think if LAT has to, I think they have the capability to do it.
Thieves could.
ROKKR is the only one, maybe.
ROKKR aren't in the tournament anymore, but they've ran 4 subs on like certain hills of maps, I'm pretty sure, and like control. Answer. So, but either way, if FaZe do go out there and belt to ass the entire rest of the tournament until finals, like I could see, like there being a conversation because like they would want to shift the meta away from their favor. But
how do you even fix the meta? What would you even do?
I mean, the only realistic thing they could do to the gun if they wanted to really change it would be to take away the barrel or force them to use like
that conversation lasted half a day.
They already tried that.
But also it's the chatter this event that I am hearing is a lot of complaining about the sub. Obviously, we've seen some AR players go off at this event, but I think some of that may just be due to timings and pace of things. I just think like the way the teams react, if a team like this is setting a meta and they can't match, they're going to try and nerf the fuck out of them.
I was gonna say this is complete. This is also like not really relative to like the sub, but it definitely helps out the sub a lot. Like ergonomic grip, like any of the ones that give you sprint, slide to fire speed, because what that essentially does is it basically punishes, like it basically allows you to have free movement and shoot immediately without any punishment, which obviously helps the subs a lot. So like, there's a lot of things that they could do and test, but yeah, I don't know what's gonna happen.
I'm seeing Austin run a sub, bro. That shit's definitely OP.
Insight had a sub out, Pat.
Yeah,
Insight had a sub out, man.
But I actually agree with Chris. Yeah, it is the maps. Like, and in the past, like that's how it's always been, bro. You've had like you've had 3 AR maps, you've had 3 sub maps. The problem is just every fucking map in this game, it's all close quarters combat. It feels like.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, but I think Ben, to your point, like I just hate that. Like that is fucking whack. That's like, oh man, this team is fucking doing something that we can't do. We gotta fucking, we gotta figure out a way to stop them. I also, you asked what team could probably pull out 4. I think Optic could. I just don't think they could make it far enough in the tournament for it to matter. But they could probably pull them out as well.
I was gonna say, I'm not gonna lie that. Another reason why the subs, the map design definitely helps it a lot, bro. But I don't think people realize how OP the Jackal is. They've introduced so many SMGs into this game, and there's still so many of them allowed in rank play, and none of them even get used. And you want to why the Jackal is so fucking broken? It's not the TTK, it's not the fucking range. It's the fact that all those are good, they're average. But it's the handling and mobility. The fact that you can shoot so fast off sprinting and sliding and your strafe, like it is by far and away the best mobile SMG we've probably had in a very, very long time.
Yeah, so you can play off the hip really well with it.
Exactly. And like when you look at the AR, bro, it's so if you're not L triggering, you die. Like you don't even stand a chance. You just get blown away. So I don't know what they're gonna do. Also, just one thing about Celium. Like, because we were just talking about him, I didn't even get to say my thing about him. Bro, that guy has been good ever since IW at using the gun that is the best gun in the game. Like the Maddox, the fucking K-Bar, all that shit. When he used to play like all those S&D chows back in the day, like when he has the quote-unquote do-it-all gun, that guy is fucking unreal because he's one of those players that when he's on, he can shift his gears and play like a sub or play like an AR with the gun that he has in hand because he's just super smart. So that's why, like, when he pulled that sub out and fried, I was like, yeah, I mean, this guy has.
Well, that's why he was a that's why he was a quote.
That's why
flex on those teams. And then he went to that main gimmick in Vanguard when they picked up Austin and like kept Alec. I don't know why he ever tried to roll switch, and that's not.
He's always been a flex, and when he plays like a flex and is aggressive, he's effective. But
I feel vindicated, bro. I bitched about the way MC played for years. I'm just like, dude, just left stick, man. Like he's got all the talent in the world. It was just go forward with it, dude. And this is what it looks like.
He wasn't always like that. There was a period of time where when I first met MC, he was always playing like super left stick challenge.
It was the Vanguard year.
There was a period of time where something clicked where he just slowed down a little. He slowed down.
Vanguard year.
I think some of it is. I think a lot of it is on him, and I think if you read a lot of the comments that he has said in recent weeks, I think it's pretty indicative of a mindset change that he's doing to reflect on what the team needs. The team needs him to be quicker because it not only benefits him, it benefits them, and you see that they haven't lost since the 3-0 to Carolina. That's basically that. You guys talk about the 1v4, sure, but I think that the turning point in their season was getting 3-0 chokeslam by fucking Carolina before the break.
I was gonna say one last thing is like, bro, this whole roll shit is dead. Like I've said this like for a long time. When you got a sub in your hand, you got to do what a sub's got to do. When you have an AR in your hand, you got to do what an AR's got to have. What an AR has to do. And if you got to slide, it doesn't matter what gun you have. You slide. Like that whole roll shit's dead. Yeah, there are still players out there that play certain ways, and I guess you might classify them in a role. But in my opinion, always having that mindset is just so like detrimental to your roster. That's why one thing that we criticize Inside about, right? The fact that he's always playing to that role. It's not a good thing on a team. Yeah, he's still very good. And the reason that he's on the team is because of how skilled he is. But like that shit is detrimental to your team. So for Celium to finally get that shit out of his brain while Draza still is playing to the pace that he needs to, and the rest of the team is playing at the pace that they need to, it's only going to be good for the team, and that's why they've been playing so well. So hopefully they can keep that up.
COD's always been like that, where it's like super situational, right? Like depending on your spawn or depending on where you are, like you have to take this route or you need to hit this, right? Like depending on where you are on the map, like everybody needs to be able to do everything. Right? Like if it's your turn to slide in and bait and hill, and you're the first one there, you slide in and you bait and hill, right? If you're getting that spawn where you got to take that long route and rotate, right? It's like it's around like that 25-second, 30-second mark. You got to rotate.
Yeah,
you got to take that route and rotate.
We've always had conversations when we talk about like team building on how like, oh, this player plays fast, this player plays slow, and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, those are like what they're good at and what they do most of the time, but it's not what they always do, if that makes sense. And that's why, like, I think FaZe is starting to adapt to the pace of the game really well, and that's why you're seeing them good.
I remember getting into a huge argument with one of my teammates. I won't say who it was, but years ago. This is in Black Ops 4, and he spawned up at like 25, 30 seconds, and it was his turn to hit the route and rotate. And he told me, no, that's your job. Like, I'm not doing like that's your job. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. And I was like,
he's a team rotator.
Bro, I was like, what do you mean that's my job? We all have to rotate.
Yeah, who said that?
That's got to be a Scraps.
Yeah, how'd you know?
That's got to be Scraps.
It was Maddie, man.
Scraps.
Bro, Maddie said, that's your job, bro. And I said, bro, Maddie, we all got to do that, right? Depending on like the certain, whatever time that you come off spawn. Right, like if
I was thinking in my head, I was like, "Who did Tom T?"
I knew who it was. I didn't want to say anything, bro.
Ben, you knew who it was. So I'm like, bro, like
rotate, go.
You know, and that was that's like the biggest thing, like, bro. It's happened a lot on like a lot of teams that I've been on. It's like, no, man, like everybody's got to be able to hit hills and bait and rotate and plant bombs and do that. Like you got to be able to do everything. You got to be able to do it all because you never know what situation you're gonna be put into. And it's all COD is all a game. It's a game on situationals and timings. So yeah, Chris, I couldn't agree more with you. I feel like that role shit. I mean, people are still kind of pocketed into certain roles, Chris. Yeah. But like, I know what you mean. Like, COD's very situational. You need to be able to do everything.
You need to minimize that quote unquote your little sub role as much as possible and just be able to do everything. And the teams that can do everything and have players that do everything are always the best teams.
Yeah, 100%. But anybody else got any final thoughts on this one? I mean, FaZe bounced Toronto into the losers bracket. It was pretty comfortable from them. I think Sam kind of hit on the head with Toronto with like some of these top teams. Like sometimes it feels like they're not able to slay or keep up with them at times. But I mean, they do have a lot of talent. They do got a lot of potential. But they do fall short in this one. You guys have any more final thoughts here?
Joe's got to be more consistent in series like this. I know like the last time they played, like he fried, but I feel like he is the most feast and famine sub I've ever seen.
Joe has to figure out his gears, man. So sometimes he can't pull back on his gear, and sometimes it's just go, and sometimes I feel like Joe just needs to chill out a little bit. But I mean, we all know Joe, bro. When he hits that gear and he's hitting his timings, like he's super talented. If he starts realizing when to kind of slow it down a bit, when to kind of play his corners, I think he'll be more consistent personally. But yeah, anybody else? Anything left to say? Any final thoughts?
My last thought is Tyler Beasy gets a Psychopath of the Day award on a retake on Protocol trying to challenge a guy posted up back on with a sub.
I've seen some crazy challenges.
Kleenex dolphin diving in round 11 to kill the guy for a first blood on vault. That's mine.
That was insane. That was actually insane. I remember because I had Mac. He needed a couple kills in that round. I said, Mac's got me. It's my son. And he dolphin dived out of top back. I said, oh, Jesus fucking Christ. So what the hell's going on here? But all right, any other final thoughts? Let's move on. Next series of the day, we got the Miami Heretics going up against the Minnesota ROKKR. This was a losers bracket match, and this goes all the way down to a map number 5, which let me tell you got super scary. I mean, it was Miami went up 5-0 in the map 5, and then ROKKR won 5 straight to bring it to a round 11 just for them to lose in a round 11. So that was tough. But we'll scroll down. We'll take a look here at the stat sheet. Miami. They win this series with nearly a red carpet. I mean, you had Lucky with a .95, Metals with a .99, you had Real with a .89, and you had ROKKR with a 1.07. On the other side, you had a 1.13 from Geo, yet again, a 1.10 from Nero, and then you had Paul with a .97 and Ezreal with a .89. He struggled a little bit in this one. We'll take a look at the match MVP. Goes to ROKKR with a 1.05 and a hard point, .87 in the search, and a 1.25 in a control. ROKKR played great today. It was great to see the passion from the Miami boys here in this series. But we'll start with you, Chris, on this one. I know you know these Minnesota ROKKR boys really well. They end up falling short today. How do you think the series went, Chris?
I mean, the series was fucking insane. This was actually my favorite series. My favorite series of the day. That S&D, I had my heart beating like crazy. I didn't know who the fuck was going to win that one. But overall, I mean, like that's got to suck for the ROKKR, man. I actually like, even though Miami, are in that top 4, I actually just really like watching this ROKKR team play. They're a fun team to watch because again, they're one of those teams that doesn't really have roles, like in terms of like who plays in what way. They all play very fucking fast, sometimes to a detriment. But overall, yeah, I mean, the series was just wild. As far as the players, Paul, I think, had a pretty good event. I think he played a lot better than he did online. He was like a walking 0.5 for a couple series.
Yeah.
And he actually had a great event by his standards as of late. But fucking Gio and Nero, especially Gio is fucking godlike.
Yeah, Gio went crazy this event, bro. He was like insane, like consistent, like just consistently putting numbers up. And he pulled out a sub a lot, Chris, which was cool to see. Like seeing Gio pull out the sub and slide around with a sub, like he can run both guns very well, which is cool to see.
Yeah, Gio does it all, man. But Estro, I think, had a lackluster event. He had I think one good series, but the other series he played all right. But the thing is about this ROKKR team and their stats is like, as long as like their damage is there, I don't like the stats to me don't mean too much because the way these guys play, they're just like still kind of like inconsistent. They're just a gritty team, and sometimes that grittiness is not like a thing where it's going to win them series, and sometimes it's a thing where they're going to lose maps that they probably shouldn't. So
I think a lot of their inconsistency, Chris, is that they're hardpoint map pool. I mean, they're a great hardpoint team from what we've seen, but the other maps are virtually a toss-up. I think Hosty is probably their second best map, but Red Card and Skyline, every time I watch them play, that's like an LOL. So
I'm still go ahead. I was gonna say, I'm still genuinely curious if this team sees like an upgrade path, because outside, like, granted, Paul had a better tournament. Like, I feel like their inconsistencies there, especially if they're gonna play at this like fast pace, like slay heavy, aggression heavy team. Like, if they feel like they can make an upgrade for Paul, I don't really know.
Bro, there's always an upgrade path.
Probably. I just don't really know if they will. This is another team where like they still had a good result and like they have good chemistry, so they might just keep trying to grind it out and improve, because although like, yeah, they could maybe pick up a more talented player or find somebody that might fit the team or try to fit the team with, they could also fucking throw their fucking mojo off and start going on this decline, because they're in this point where they're like taking every series game 5 and like they're winning a lot of them, but
I think their mojo's gone though. Their mojo's gone. They won 4 straight game 5s in a row, and now they've lost 4 in a row. Like, to me, their mojo is gone.
But they did also win 2 clean series finally. So I don't know.
What I want to, I don't know if we'll have a stat for this. I'm curious, like, how many of their 2-3-5s have been round 11 in searches and round 5s in controls. I don't know what they do, but I feel like every fucking 2-3-5 for them is last round. Like, they go the distance every time. But to me, I mean, the fact that they, obviously the original minor, they were winning every game 5. Now they're just losing them all. Something about their ice is not there.
That's the thing though, man, is like if they do make a change, like that shit could go the other way, right? It could start making them on a decline, like until they have a stretch where they start like 100% like falling off.
They're just pushing the distance every series.
But the thing is, though,
they could also go from doing that to not even being competitive.
Exactly.
I don't think dropping their worst player would ever do that. I
think that's what happened with Vegas last year, though.
So who are you trying to drop, Pat?
Their team was just awful. This team has at least.
Well, they were competitive in a lot of their series. That was my point. Like, they got evidently worse immediately last year when they tried to upgrade for kills. Granted, Asen wasn't great, but like this seems like a trap roster change to me.
Yeah, but their change also wasn't that great. I would
be for Paul. I mean, it would be.
So the problem with dropping Paul is I legitimately think, having watched him this weekend, that Paul is like a little bit of the emotional center, like kind of leadership of this team. And I think if you replace him, it's going to throw that all out of whack. I hate to say that, but just seeing them in person, like that's
mind blowing.
Him and Gio are easily the most. No, I'm not even
lying to tell you, bro. It is what it is.
No, him and Gio are easily the most animated people on this roster, and I could see that because Paul, regardless of what you say, he does bring a lot of like passion to the team, and like I don't know, I know them really well, and I know they really
so get someone who brings passion and leadership.
No, I was gonna say they really like hanging out with each other, like offline. Like they're really good friends. Like they are super tight knit. And yeah, friends aren't everything, but like their chemistry outside of the game and in the game, like is like it's probably helping them there.
They're not going to make a change. I think.
I don't think they will either for a while.
They're good enough in the other game modes. If they can just figure out how to get better at a couple of hard points, I think they're going to start winning these series a lot cleaner. Like the S&D, their control, like the stats, the way they play. Like, yeah, some of the maps are pretty close, but a lot of people are playing close maps. I think they just need to get better at like 2 more hard points maps, and they're going to be chilling. The problem for them is their split upcoming is Miami, Optic, Carolina, Vegas, FaZe, Thieves, and
Jesus Christ.
They played the top 3 teams.
I think this is going to be LAGV too. I think these guys are going to get dumpster fired online, and they're going to show up to events and like play relatively well.
Yeah, but Pat, we always talk about this, right? Like teams play like shit, right? For like weeks and weeks, they play terrible, and then they just have one good run, and then they hang on just a little bit more, and then they play like shit even more.
It prevents them from making a change.
Yeah, it's like
bro,
a cycle,
we've seen it before, bro. It's
it happened
like
last year with ROKKR, right?
Yeah, you get a good placing, and it's the worst thing that could happen to you as a team.
Yeah,
like because
the thing is though, they did place well. They placed well at the minor, and then they also placed well here. So like, it's not like one good placing. They have a
but they have a lot of points. They won every fucking game.
Well, yeah, I know, but I'm saying like they have a lot of points. Like they still have like room to play with. Like I said, I mean, they could look at it at the end of the day. I don't know their team culture like that much, right? But I don't think they will, and I think they're going to stick it out. And until it starts, like let's say they start this stage off, and like they're losing to teams they shouldn't, or they're getting blown out, then yeah, maybe they'll look at something. But
I really think this is LGB too, bro. I really do.
It could be. You might be right. You might be on this.
I think these guys are going to be like getting torched online, and they're just going to show up to every event and like squeak out a top 6, top 8 every time.
Yeah, they're in a weird spot. I don't know about the roster change, but who knows? We'll see what they decide on Tuesday when they get back, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, this was crazy, bro. 2 round 11s, an overtime and control. I mean, this series really did go down.
Can I talk about Miami really quick?
Yeah, go ahead,
bro. Like, first on, shout out to Miami for making it to Sunday, but like
first Sunday.
I don't know how this team made it to Sunday.
Is it for Miami? First Sunday for Miami?
First Sunday ever in the CDL.
Probably for Heretics, not for
Chris, I watched this Miami team play, and they just feel like they are tiptoeing on the side of a 1,000-foot clip in every map they play. And sometimes they fall straight into it and they can't get out. Bro. And sometimes in series like this, they somehow bounce themselves.
Though, I'm not gonna say they're a gritty fucking team, though.
I'm not gonna lie, bro. You could say that. You could say that about literally both of these teams. These guys are like. Did we say that these two are the same team once, or were we talking about a different roster? I don't even remember actually. But either way, like both of these teams, we could say that about. I think the only like. There was like 2 at least before this that we could guarantee say were really good, and it was Optic and fucking FaZe. And Thieves, we still didn't know what the fuck. But now that the event's over, there's probably arguably one fucking team that looks reliable where we can predict their series. Like everyone else is a fucking toss-up.
Yeah, but not to this extent though, Chris. Like in every map for Miami, it's
some it's every map, some is just a series, right?
They scam heavy, and they've got some reliable respawn maps, which is keeping them in a lot of these series. But their search and destroy is still like not good enough.
Well, their search used to be at a point where they weren't winning a single one. Now they're at least winning series. So or winning searches. So
they were one lucky miracle from a full sale, man. Yeah, one lucky miracle from a full sale.
Can we talk about that, bro? I mean, usually they have clips here.
Can you pull up the player?
Yeah, I can pull up the play. Just give me 1
second.
second.
Bro, Lucky, actually, he got to be sleeping good tonight, man. He made the absolute play of that round 11.
Bro, I can't believe he had a pistol when he popped.
He just straight pistoled a guy, full health.
I mean, bro, that's insane. I mean, here I could switch it over now, have it up on the screen. So this is around 11 here. So they end up going to a B stack here. So everybody from Minnesota gets into the B site here when the bomb goes down. You can see the pinch coming in from Miami. They send 2 guys around the flank to start pinching them in from stage. And then you can see now, once Minnesota recognizes the pinch comes in, they try and push out a side and get control.
Which is a good play. They made the right play.
Somehow Lucky finds one and then stays alive from Paul and finds another one there. I mean, I don't know how he found 2 there. I really don't know. If Minnesota can push that out and actually get a side, they can probably close this one out. And it would have been a full sale as well. Keep that in mind. Miami was up 5-0 in this map, and this goes all the way down to around 11. Just crazy, man. And I would almost argue too. I'd rather challenge the people on the flank than challenge these guys and run forward. Because the problem is you run forward, you get these kills. Now what? You can't see the bomb. Like you have to run in there, right? Like we were just talking about this, Sam. Like you plant the bomb,
don't
post-plant
know.
situations.
I think the only problem with that, Tom,
I
is
feel like the
it's
guys
short-
on the pinch are easy to kill, Sam. No, aren't
So
they
the
pretty
only,
easy to
the only
kill?
problem with that, Tom, and Sam, I don't know if you agree, is in order to chow the guys on the pinch, let's assume that they're on like that catwalk and not like trying to go up the seats. You're gonna kind of slide into preempts there.
Man,
That's kinda what-
I
that's-
don't think it's a
I
hard
think it's a
gunfight
really
to
hard
win.
shell.
Personally, I don't think it's a
they
hard
just
gunfight to
know-
win.
I like pushing out because one, they're not expecting it. Because I don't think that they're expecting them to run at them in this situation, being ROKKR. And two, I think Ben is right. Like the guys on the pinch know that there's 4 here. They don't see anything that work through the like full pinch. They're common. There's 4 in bomb site. They're probably gonna try to get it like an L trigger or a scam of some sort. So I think the worst case scenario is ROKKR running at the pinch trying to find a kill. And
They also didn't plan for outside. They planted on the inside of the site, so they had they would have had a better chance
they made
here.
the right play, and Lucky blacked out and made the play of his life.
Yeah,
Genuinely.
I mean,
I think that's what happened.
it's tough.
I think they
bro.
made the right call.
It's the post plants, man. Like when you get the bomb down, like I feel like you got to think about what the next step is. It was a good play, obviously, to get the pinches in for Miami. Like to kind of just pinch them on it, pinch them out. They actually didn't waste any time either. Like look, 15 seconds into the round, and look at where Meadows is already. Like look where he's at. He didn't waste any time hitting that pinch. So it was a good play. It was a good heads-up play from Miami, especially after losing 5 straight rounds. Like, you know, being able to have the balls to kind of hit that out and pinch it right away was a good play call. I think Minnesota panicked a little bit. I think they felt the pressure. They panicked, and they kind of just tried to make a play based on the moment. And Miami,
honestly, bro,
retake.
I respect the fact that they made these plays, because in a round 11, like I wouldn't be surprised you watch any other team, they just all sit in the site and pray.
Yeah.
Like the fact that they actually made that play to give themselves a chance of not getting sandwiched, like speaks volumes to this team's like confidence, and like the fact like it's literally their like team essence, bro. Like you like the way they play. It's actually crazy because they just don't falter no matter the situation. They'll always try to win, if that makes sense. They will never just sit there and like just die.
Yeah. I mean, hey, they were able to clutch up. They end up getting a top 4 placing. ROKKR did the interview. A lot of passions flowing from Miami's way. How do you think Miami's going to do tomorrow? You guys think they're going to come out tomorrow and actually like compete and be competitive, or do you think they're going to get like just bodied?
No one's stopping TJ Halley.
Yeah,
I think
TJ's
Carolina's
been
probably
unbelievable,
been
bro. TJ's been insane.
Yeah, I mean that's still a series that's winnable for Heretics,
bro. I think that series could be 5 randomly.
It could be 5, but I think Carolina's going to win like 6-0, 6-1 last map.
They're just good as fuck. Carolina's just good as fuck at search. So like Miami's gonna have to start playing search good. Otherwise, this series is gonna be fucking free.
Yeah, agreed. But any other final thoughts on Minnesota ROKKR and Miami before we move on to the last series of the day? Any final thoughts, guys?
Well, let's talk about Tej.
All right, let's move on. Let's talk about T-Squared, man, because this guy has been unbelievable. We move into the last series of the day. We have Toronto Ultra going up against the Carolina Royal Ravens, and this one goes all the way down to a map 5 where Carolina was able to win it. They were able to bounce Toronto out of the tournament. We'll scroll down. We'll take a look here at the stat sheet. We had a 1.20 from Beans in this one. He popped off in this series. 0.95 from Kleenex. He had a 1.03 from Insight and a 1.05 from Joe DeCease. On the other side with Carolina, everybody negative except for TJ. He had a 0.90 from Gwyn, a 0.98 from Slasher. He had a 1.03 from TJ. And Vivid with a 0.89, but the most damage in the lobby. Sorry, not in the lobby. Beans had more damage than him. But
these stats are all skewed because of map 3 and 4, though, to be fair. Like that, this doesn't really indicate how the series went, no?
I mean, yeah, I was just reading out the stats.
No, I know. I'm trying to get the context.
No, you get, and then just to give you guys context, like Ben was saying, I mean, first map was a blowout from Carolina. They win by nearly 100 points there. We had a round 11, map number 2. And then you have, of course, the Vault Control goes into an overtime. That's where Toronto was able to get their first map win on the board. That's where, Ben, we were talking about it during the watch party. That's where we thought the momentum might have switched a little bit. And then, again, Toronto coming to the Hacienda hard point. They're able to win that. Now we're tied up at 2. I thought for a second Toronto, with the momentum that they had, was going to get the reverse sweep here. But the S&D is where Carolina were able to clutch up here. I mean, Pat, we'll start with you. TJ Haley masterclass. I mean, I feel like we can't talk about him enough, but what did you think of the series, Pat? What'd you think?
I didn't expect Carolina to win when this series started, and then they went up 2-0, and I was like, well, shit. But I will say, I mean, outside of Tej just playing well so far, like Tej's turnaround career-wise has been insane. And so I'm happy for him that he's now, game obviously suits him. He's on a team he likes, and he's obviously playing really well. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Teach. But yeah, I mean this series was a roller coaster for me. And then like I said, when I saw Austin running a SMG, multiple lives, I knew that thing is OP.
Yeah, he has been pulling it out more. I don't know if he's pulling it out. I think a lot of ARs are just constantly picking him up when they can, right? Like whenever you can. Actually, you've seen that happen both ways. I feel like everybody's kind of picking up guns more than we've seen in past games.
A lot of people do it because they like sometimes in the moment when you're like getting kills and like finessing, you're essentially playing gun game. Like you'll get kills. Right? Yeah, you don't want to reload, so you just pick up whatever the fuck's on the ground and like keep playing until like you have room to reload or something.
Yeah, what did you think, Sam, about the series? Carolina, they take out Toronto Ultra 3-2 here. It was a good one.
Oh, bro, where do I start? I guess Tej, man. I mean, he's gonna win a 1v1 game 2 and a 2v1 game 5 to close. I mean, he's playing out of his mind. But I wanted to give my props to Reese, man.
Yeah,
like Tej is obviously gonna be the talk of the town. And rightfully so. But I think Reese is quietly having the second best tournament on this team. Especially with the eye issues that he had on day one. He's been playing really fucking well, so I wanted to make sure that he gets his flowers. But
especially because he role changed too, Sam. He role changed this year.
Bro, he role changed and he still had a Reese Vivid series. Most damage, negative, bro. That's a Reese Vivid series if I've ever seen one.
Yeah.
But I mean, everyone on Ravens is making plays. Like we're not seeing superstar Gwyn to the level that he was online, which I don't know if that's going to be worrying or not, but he's still making plays when he needs to. He's popping pieces. And same with Austin. Like they're not super flashy, but everyone's doing exactly what they need to do, and they're enabling Tej to play the way that he's been playing, and it's super impressive. And on Toronto, man, I expected them to win the series. Like Pat said, I had them winning this, but for them to lose in a potential reverse sweep and to go 0-2 on their best search coming into the weekend on protocol, definitely hurts, man. I think that is a map that they're going to feel real bad about.
What about you, Benjay? What'd you think?
I thought that Toronto got off to a pretty slow start in this series. And I think as good as Toronto has been in S&D online against some weaker opponent, we see that against the better search teams, maybe at their level, maybe above them, in Carolina and FaZe, like these teams kind of struggle, or Toronto struggles to try to counter adjust versus them. So I think that's going to need to be an adjustment. I talked about it earlier in this show. I think if they want to hit the next level, Joe's got to find kind of a baseline of speed and performance so they can be. I think
that's on Jamie too. No,
it is a little bit on Jamie as well. That I agree with.
It's a take that we circle back to a lot on the show with the way that Jamie plays Respawn, and I think this tournament was a very good indication of the difference in the way that he plays, because in the FaZe series and this series, we were like, holy shit, Jamie's pulling out his sub. Yeah, he's actually going forward, like he's challenging. It was very evident when you watch the FaZe series and this series when you could tell the way that he was playing. And I don't know if that's a good or a bad thing, because they did look dominant online. Granted, it was against weaker competition, to Ben's point, but I think if Jamie is just, it's almost the MC treatment. Just fucking go forward, man. Like you have this gun skill, you have the talent, you have the understanding of the game to play quick and confident. And I think having the role player that Chris alluded to earlier is just, in today's COD, it's gonna hurt more than it's gonna help.
Yeah,
and I think your Joe point is also true as well.
Because their issue with their map pool right now is their search map pool is fine, although they lost a bunch of key searches today or whatever. Like they'll work on that. Control, they're fine. Hardpoint, they don't play red card hardpoint at all, and that's forcing them to basically play Skyline, which nobody wants to play them on now. Vault, which they lost to FaZe on today, and a bunch of teams this weekend, and Hasi hardpoint, which they did win in this series. Like they got to get good either Vault or Hasi. Because this red card auto reader thing is kind of really squeezing them into bad hardpoint maps, and you see how it gets exploited. Like they lose that early map pick against FaZe, and they just get into fourth gear like it's a 3-0 GG easy. So I think Toronto, like you can't be too mad. I think about this top six, and it's probably the best type of event. I'm pissed if I'm them. Yeah, but it's the best type of event to get a top six, because they should be placing better than this. They should be playing better than this.
With that outlook, sure. But for the expectation and the way they play,
if you're going to get third or fourth the rest of the year, you'd rather get sixth now and not a fucking chance.
I agree with that.
They need to wake up a little bit and find that consistency, because they're going to have much, much harder schedules coming up. Like this split, for example, if you guys are curious on who they play coming up.
Yeah, who do they play? I'm curious.
They got another Cloud9, Carolina, Boston, Thieves, Vegas, Optic, Vancouver. Like they got another set where I think they can win a lot of these series online. They do have a lot of harder. Their major 3-set with FaZe, Boston, Thieves, Miami, LAG might be really hard, just because of the way that some of those teams are positioned. But I think they have another split where they can work on some of their issues and get like a pretty good seed for winners bracket.
They just their main thing is just they're just not that good at hardpoint. Like they're good at control. Their S&D's been their best game mode, but they lost like a couple. They lost a lot of them.
They lost
here.
their bread and butter, bro, twice.
Yeah, they were just losing search. Like that's literally why they went from like not losing S&D online to literally losing key searches that eventually bopped them out of the tournament. Like we knew what to expect out of their HP, right? They were basically like 50-50 when it came to like HP against like everybody else barring FaZe, because they didn't really play any top teams in their online split. We kind of
They played Optic, all right.
Well,
Yeah.
Well, actually, no.
Yeah.
This is where Pat says they didn't play any top teams. Never mind. Sorry.
I mean,
Correct.
FaZe, but I think
I would
we
go ahead and stop
saw-
myself there.
What you saw in search this weekend is they can win some key defensive rounds, but they really struggle on these offenses. If they don't get bloods, they're not winning these 3v4s. We saw it in the protocols. The disciplined teams just know how to not scam against them. And yeah, they've got some great fundamental search players, but they got to kind of deepen the rule book or the book a little bit, because Carolina, FaZe, Thieves will get better at search. Optic has been decent at search and they'll continue to improve. Like they're gonna need to crack that egg, or this is gonna be kind of where they're at all year, like just fucking not performing.
Am I the only one who feels like they throw out the Kleenex Pokemon ball sometimes in S&D? Like
It's
don't
a
play-
that with Joe, too.
And Joe.
I like the way that they play that, though. I don't want to criticize them for that. I think I like the way that I think that they play search and destroy with each other really well, because we were praising the way that they were playing that online because we saw how it was working, and I don't think it was necessarily a detriment to the way that they played this weekend. I like the way that they play search. I don't know if that's an unpopular opinion, but
Yeah,
I don't know. I think
they just
they're
gotta
good.
find more success. They gotta just make these offensive rounds easier on themselves. Some of it's a product of protocol, but
I also think with how good they are at search, people were probably way more prepared. Like at the major, playing against them in S&D. Like I could just be reading too much into
Well,
that.
that's what I was going to say.
Preparation.
Like when you do play that way, it's not that it's bad. It's just like, yeah, if you get out prepped and people play to counter that, that's when it could have that negative effect. Which
yeah.
I
they
think we
lost
saw here.
lost a lot of rounds today in this series and the other series on protocol, where on defense they couldn't stop the full NA and they tried a hard counter top middle B and it didn't work. And they retake like one of those rounds, but the other retakes were not successful. So the reads, I think, today, fortunately on protocol, were just not that good.
Yeah. Especially some of the post-plan situations. I mean, Kleenex kept hitting mid-map. Like I saw what they were trying to do. I actually like the strat where Kleenex and in Toronto, they kind of like run through mid and pretend like they're going B. And then once those players back out of bunker and try going A, they cut back and jump down to big door, like low A. So basically just trying to play like some mind games and shit. But I think Carolina started picking up on it. So they were kind of blind countering in a way. And then of course TJ did a great job closing out the game at the end. I think he was in a 1v2 situation, right? With like 12, 13 seconds left. He was able to find one and play his life. But it was obviously good plays from Carolina. But anybody have any other final thoughts here on the last series today? What about you, Pat? Any final thoughts here? Ben, go ahead.
I got one more take. I know that he got kind of fried on a couple maps today, but I mean, I got to tip Warrior Reese Vivid for playing through this eye issue and giving them some impact, especially in search and destroy. I think like that was a big weakness for him earlier on this year, and I think he's really stepped up in the game.
Did they figure out what it was? Did they ever figure out?
No.
They said they have no
urgent care, they
clue.
had no idea.
Reese told me that they have no idea. Like ER had, or the emergency room, or not, was it ER? Urgent care. That's what it was. Urgent care had no idea what the fuck it was. So
Really? That's so weird. Maybe
Yeah.
it was like an allergic reaction or something.
could be.
I don't know. That was weird.
He's
It
been
was-
their second best player, bro. He's been frying.
Yeah, he's been good at this tournament.
He was pushing a lot of pace in this series, and he had one bad map. But I think Reese is being a good engine, and they're finally getting what they need to get out of him. And for Carolina, like top four, man, I got to give respect.
Top
They had a
three.
good day,
Top
boys.
three. They'll be top three, Ben.
Well, they got to win to get top three. But yeah, I
They
hear
will.
you on that.
Well,
I mean, after the last 2 weeks looked, and I was like coming to this event, I'm like, it could be top.
One
eight,
thing that
top
is good
12.
about Reese is, bro, he's not afraid to like slide in and chow and like kind of get in the mix. I mean, he's not afraid to go negative, which is what I love about him. Because
Most damage negative series, man. That's
Yeah.
Reese Vivid 101 right there.
yeah, I mean, how many players just play their life way too much and don't get in the action enough, and they're probably dropping good KDs, but they're hurting their team because they're just not getting in the mix. So that's one thing about Reese. He don't give a fuck about his stats. He's trying to win the game. And he's trying to put that damage down. So shout out to Reese Vivid, man, and hopefully his eye gets better. But anybody else? Pat, you got any final thoughts?
No, I mean, just typical. I think Austin made a tweet like he was It's like I didn't play COD for 6 months. I'm 30. I'm on Championship Sunday. So shout out to the last old head still doing it.
Austin would tweet that, man. Austin's comedy. I mean, even TJ, right? TJ's another one who's
Yeah,
in there.
it's hard. It's hard for me to see TJ as an old head when his first event he showed up in pajamas and was like,
That's Sergeant Toast, man.
Yeah,
That's Sergeant Toast.
I still think TJ's like fucking 21 or something at the very least. I'm pretty sure TJ's like fucking 26 or some shit now. I don't even know.
It, bro. That was a full Tees
25,
watch
26?
party today. Full Tees watch
It makes
party.
you think about how old we are. Like, holy shit.
Yeah, we're fucked.
Like, I remember when TJ was like 16, 17, like you guys said. Even Kyler. Hook was another one. I remember when I was playing with Hook and he couldn't even compete because he was too young. We had to get somebody else. Like, it's crazy, bro. It's crazy how fast time has flown. And it's crazy to see how much COD has changed over the years. But let's take a look at tomorrow's matches. We got Miami going up against Carolina. Loser of that match will get top 4 and will be going home. Winner will guarantee themselves a top 3 placing, and they will play the loser of LA Thieves and Atlanta FaZe in the winner's final. We'll start with the first series. You got Miami going up against Carolina. I mean, where's you guys' head at with this series? I mean, for me, I think Carolina is going to take this one just because I think they're a little bit more fundamentally sound team. I think especially after today, man. I mean, I will say with Miami, they will be bringing the passion tomorrow. That's for sure. And they do have the crowd on their side. So I do think this series could go either way, but I'm probably leaning more towards Carolina. So I'll probably go Carolina 3-2. I can see this being a grueler, and I can see the S&Ds being a difference maker here. So I'll go 3-2 Carolina. What about you, Pat?
I'm going to go 3-1. I see a convincing win out of the Ravens. 3-1.
Sam?
Ravens strictly because of Search and TJ.
Benjay?
Ravens 3-1.
Christopher
I'm gonna go against the grain just to be different, but I see Miami Heretics taking this strictly off of hometown cheese, like that run quarter.
Crowd
You
cheese,
got me,
man.
bro. Crowd cheese, bro.
All right, and then we got LA Thieves going up against Atlanta FaZe. I'll be honest, I think it's going to be a good series. Like I can see the maps being close and shit, but I'm going to give it to FaZe. Again, I have FaZe being the winners of the event tomorrow. I think they're going to come out and win it. They've looked like the best team to me. They look like the most confident team, the most prepared team. So I'm going with Atlanta FaZe. I'll say 3-1, 3-2 in this one. I can see Thieves taking maps, but I think FaZe will close it out. What about you, Pat? Who do you got?
I just think right now FaZe has the ability to put other teams' subs in a blender, and I haven't seen enough from Hydra to be confident that won't happen here as well. So I'm gonna go FaZe 3-1.
And I do think whoever wins the winners final will win the event. Personally, I think that's what's going to happen here. But what do you think, Sam? Who do you got?
My LAT brain wants me to pick LAT, but I think FaZe's S&D is just miles ahead right now. I think the control is going to be great tomorrow as well because both of these are 1A and 1B in control right now. I think this is going to be a rematch in finals, but I got to pick FaZe to win this series just off of the searches. I think they're just too clean right now.
All right. What about you, Benjay? What do you think?
So earlier today, I think Thieves picked Team A, and I think Map 1 is just so important in this series. If Thieves can win it, it could be a great series, but with the Search and Destroy, I think Diff maybe in this series, it could be a 3-0, 3-1 situation for FaZe. I'm going to say FaZe Game 5 because I think Thieves will battle, but again, if they don't win that Map 1, this could get ugly, and then the rematch, we'll talk about in a bit.
Duarte, what do you think?
I'm gonna go with FaZe in this one, but if they meet in grand finals, I'm gonna say Thieves win it, just because FaZe has been faltering. FaZe has been faltering on these Sundays
break, baby.
for a while.
Come
They've been faltering in these finals for a while, man. So listen
break.
until they close out a tournament again.
Yeah.
They
Then
closed the tournament fucking the last one we
Yeah,
played.
they won
We
it.
don't count that shit. Off-season
We don't count
cheese,
that shit.
off-season
They're the
tournament.
reigning world
off season.
Against this franchise, by the way, different players.
Different,
yeah,
okay.
Honestly, it's a coin flip, bro. Both teams can win. I'm just, I'm trying to like start a little narrative here. You know what I'm saying? All right, listen, I got Thieves. I got FaZe in this one, but Thieves in the final.
So who do you guys have all winning the event? Do you guys have FaZe winning the event?
FaZe, yeah.
Listen, I was right when we talked about this roster at first. I told Sam that these are my guys now too. I like this team, so I'm just gonna root for him, but I don't know who's gonna win.
I just think this is similar to Major 2 last year. Unless Thieves blow out tomorrow and they're like the best S&D team of all time, I just think FaZe is
This is
gonna
flank
grind them
bragging
out.
rights right here.
Yeah.
And
This
Blank's
is,
bragging
this is
rights.
Any
blank bragging
surprises?
rights.
Any surprises to you guys on a weekend after seeing the top 4?
TJ
now?
Halley in finals.
I mean, TJ, yeah. I mean, he hasn't been in the championship Sunday since what? You said Vanguard, right, Ben? Was the last time TJ was in a champ Sunday?
Yeah, Vanguard.
Which is awesome, man. It's good to see T squared in
Boston
there.
Vanguard event.
Miami fucking Heretics.
Pat, a lot
Top
of people
four.
keep asking in chat your thoughts about Optic getting eliminated. What are your thoughts on that, Pat? You weren't here the last couple of shows. Was it a surprise to you? Because I mean, we
that's
all
what
expected Optic to make a
you were
run.
asking like biggest surprises on the weekend. I mean, Optic was not that for me, Tom. I kind of predicted
Really?
this, and I will say I didn't expect Hugh to be the best player.
Random Instagram video. It just.
I
Did you
didn't
pull it
expect
up?
Kyler to be the best player on this team this weekend. That's the one thing that I didn't expect. But yeah, everything else was, as expected for me. I will say, Kenny really needs to turn it around. He's not playing well whatsoever. And honestly, biggest disappointment for me was Bruce. Bruce was probably like top 2 player wise going into this weekend, and I didn't feel like he showcased that whatsoever this event. So. Yeah, I mean, I wasn't surprised that they had a bad tournament. But I mean, I didn't expect their hardpoint to look as terrible as it did. That
What
was
do you
like,
actually think it was? No, like Optic cheese, like
I mean,
slayers. What do you actually think it was?
I'm gonna say this, and I don't mean it in like a I blame Kyler way for this. Kyler was obviously, pretty fresh into this team after the Preds situation went down, and the way Kyler plays online enables you as a team to basically play differently, right? Like when he is challenging everything, and he was online and getting every kill, it's kind of like a play style shift when that occurs as a team.
But you don't think he was their best player on the weekend, though? Like,
No,
you
but
don't
he
think he
was.
was playing similarly to
No, I
that
do.
state
You
online?
think he's getting to play too fast? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is like it kind of shifts your mentality from a pace perspective when that's happening online consistently. And I think, as we all know, like the way the game plays on LAN is always a little bit different. And you mainly see it in hardpoint, right? And I think just their speed, their pace, their situational plays just probably fell off to them internally. And I think that's probably where I would say the reason was. But like I said, Kyler statistically played the best for them this weekend. So
What you're trying to say is like they went from being more structured, at least last year, to being more of a like controlled chaos type of team in their response. Is that what you're trying to say?
Dude, like if
I
you look,
see the
Kyler's been one of their
could
best
see it.
players in every
can see it
series.
too.
I could see that.
The only counter argument I have to that is, like they were playing. It's still very early, and I don't know if that's the reason that they're 4-hitting ROKKR for the last 5 seconds on Hacienda. You know what I'm saying? Like I think some of that to me is still, and Brandon need to step it up, and Brandon in particular and Ken need to bring a little bit
I
more
mean, that kind of goes to
leadership.
Pat's point, doesn't it?
But if they're
You know
getting
what?
away with that online, Ben, and that's like been their habit because they've just been winning every gunfight and like being able to play bully ball in a sense, and they're still doing it on land, but then losing a crucial rotation fight, like you're not, hitting that scrap is going to be way more punishing.
Did you hear my take
here than it
yesterday,
would be
Pat?
before. No, I
You hear
didn't.
my
What'd
take
you say?
yesterday? It's funny because like they were obviously good at matches, and we'll tip that to an extent. But like when scrims against some of these better teams, when Shotzi was streaming them and JP was, and you can see what they were all doing kind of through walls on Expert and Codcaster, like they were doing this, and so I wasn't surprised when they got to land. They started showing the negative form and the negative decision making that they were showing in like scrims. They were just kind of manifesting that, so it's not really that shocking
And
to me.
another thing is, bro, like as a team, when you have one person or multiple people being as confident as Shotzi was on the timeline, like you got to play perfect. That's just the reality of the situation. Like you got to be able to back that up, and it's not just you as an individual; it's all 4 of you. And like I've mentioned before, it's real easy to talk the talk, but it's not as easy to back
That
it
was
up
on my
and walk
bingo
the walk.
card for sure.
Yeah.
You remember how I
Duarte
said that?
yesterday.
No, you did say that.
I said
you
if
did
Pat
say
was
that,
here,
yeah.
he would have said literally this,
Yeah.
and you actually just said it
Damn, bro.
verbatim.
I mean, I do think Kyler was their best player on the weekend, though.
He was, yeah,
He was. Oh wait, but I also was like talking about how it's like a more controlled chaos type of play style that could definitely be affecting like players on their team, like
Kenny.
especially Keddy, who's
Yeah.
used to playing in a more structured environment. If it goes into like, granted, it might be a product of the game. If they go to playing this like insanely reactive, chaotic play style, granted they can control it. it could be hurting his performance. I don't know. That might just be nothing, but I could see what Pat is saying to potentially be true, but I don't know if that's actually their issue.
I could see it too, but when I watched back their hard points yesterday and like crucial moments where you gotta have it moments on like hills where if you hold, you win the game, they were just doing shit that looked like they just weren't calling out to each other. Like they were like double holding lanes, or like the skyline yesterday, you guys remember. They would get the 4 dead on P1. They pushed everything and then didn't watch kitchen. They walked through kitchen, and just pinched P2.
Same thing Hasi on Rock Hill.
When they got
the white and then you go over.
That's why, like, I'm not gonna say that your take is incorrect, Pat, but like it looks like they're in these situations and legitimately not talking to each other.
Like
they were double holding top on P4s on Skyline.
Playing comfortable, Sam? Like, do you think that's
like maybe they're operating under the assumption that like they're gonna do stuff.
Yeah,
that
they're gonna get bailed out.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I could see that, but like again, they were just like they were never double holding top on a P4 Skyline.
I mean, we heard their listenings
they
too,
broke
Sam.
through closet like 3 times.
Their listenings did sound a little weird, didn't they, Sam? I mean, they sounded a little off.
No, what was the LAG series listening was really bad? Was it that one? And then the next series was better, if I remember correctly. Like they were calling out a little bit more.
They're both not to their standard. I don't think they were both terrible.
But that's why I asked Pat the start of the discussion, because it was just such a crazy 180 in the mode. It was so weird to watch.
That's what I'm saying. Like, do you really think they have like set like plays, like ideal setups for everything that they like talk about and like they do, or do you think they just like react and try to fill what's open and like feel out the other team?
You're not pulling up a map and placing arrows kind of thing. No, but like when you start to master a map, it's almost unspoken where like you just understand what needs to be watched and like what players need to do it and when. It's not necessarily like you're never going to get an ideal setup. You're never going to replicate a game state in a respawn ever. But you know the general area and timings to fill on setups and breaks, which again is like on a P4, getting broken through closet is inexcusable on a P4. So like to watch them double fill top, like Ken jumped up plat while Kyler was also top stone. Like situations like that just really weren't happening in their online matches. And again, I don't think that like it's so perplexing to me, bro. Genuinely, I don't know what it is.
You missed out on this conversation, Pat. So I'll fill you in on it. But I was talking about how like the one thing that Pred brought to this team was that like unrelenting energy where it's like never chalked. And like when we watched their match yesterday, it really felt like they were like giving up mid-series. You could see it on their faces. I don't know if they were like fucking tired, if they were demoralized, or what it was, but it didn't look like they had the energy, nor like it's like they didn't want to be there sometimes. Like that's what it looked like on their faces. Granted, you're not going to be happy when you're losing. It didn't really feel like they had a voice in their matches to kind of rally them.
Yeah, but listen, man, we got a top 4 tomorrow. Got some great matches. I'm excited to get into it. It's been a long day, man. We've been here since 5 a.m. Sam, we were in the T-Speak at 5 a.m. bright and early. So it's been a long day, man. I appreciate all the energy as always, guys. It's everybody in the chat, both in the watch parties, the shows, all that. And we'll obviously be back tomorrow, man, for Championship Sunday. We get right back into it. So I can't wait to watch. And as always, guys, just thank you so much. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you're watching on YouTube, go to anchor.fm/theflank. Check out audio slash Ron. Go follow @theflank on Twitter. Guys doing a phenomenal job running social. ZooMaa.gg for the merch. We got no merch on there right now, but we are working on it. Working on getting some merch there. So stay tuned. I know I've been saying that, but I want the merch to be good. I don't want to put out shit merch. So, we're working on that. And then of course, join the community. Spotlighted to my Twitter, the Flank Twitter. Go check it out. It's at the top. So join the community. We're almost at 20,000 people in the community, which is fucking insane. I appreciate everybody who's been joining up. And we'll be back tomorrow, man. Take care. Brush your hair. And we'll see you guys tomorrow on another episode of The Flank, man. Take it easy. Slowly.